Welcome to another video for biology. This is a continuation for photosynthesis. In this video, I wanted to give you a more detailed look at the general equation for photosynthesis and just to kind of hopefully give you a better understanding of what's actually going on in this equation. So here I have a general outline, if you will, of the equation. You have six carbon dioxide molecules plus six water molecules with light, and then a reaction occurs and you end up with a sugar molecule. And then of course you also end up with oxygen, okay, as a waste product for plants. Okay, so as we continue on in this idea, there's a couple of things that I want you to keep in mind, and I'm pretty much saying the same thing in four different ways. So you can pause the video at this point and kind of take a look. I'm not going to read them out loud, just to kind of keep this video as short and sweet as possible. But again, these four statements are basically saying the same thing, okay? Um, and these go along with the other videos that I have on the website. So please view those videos, and with this one as well, it should help. I think these four statements should become more clear. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with this equation that I mentioned before. You end up having, or you first have carbon dioxide, which we breathe out all the time. Okay, so carbon dioxide floats around in the atmosphere, in the air, and it gets absorbed by plants. Okay, and what exactly happens to that carbon dioxide is what we're going to touch on today. And then of course plants also need water, right? Water and sunlight. So with these three main components, okay, these are the three main components for this equation. You need carbon dioxide, water, and light. And then this arrow right here, this reaction arrow that you'll become more familiar with in chemistry, indicates that there is a reaction that is occurring, an anabolic reaction to be more specific. Anabolic meaning you're building something, okay, as opposed to catabolic where you're breaking something down. So photosynthesis is an anabolic reaction where these three components are used to build these two components, these two products, which is glucose, sugar, and waste product of oxygen. All right, well, let's take a look at that left side of the equation. As you can see here, you have the coefficient 6, right? So that means we have 6 total carbon dioxide molecules, okay? 6 carbon dioxide molecules, and in addition with that, you have 6 H2O molecules, or water molecules. Just to kind of touch on water real quick. Um, H2O, water, a drop of water, for example, is not just made out of one H2O molecule. H2O molecules are incredibly tiny, where for each drop of water, it's 3.7 times 10 to the 21 power molecules of water. So each drop of water has that many molecules of water. That's a lot of molecules. So, you know, you can picture that many molecules in one drop. They all kind of accumulate and add up for one drop. So that's a lot of water molecules per drop, okay? 3.7 times 10 to the 21 to be exact. And actually, that's not an exact number. I mean, depending on the size of the drop, of course, you can have different numbers of molecules. But the point is that there's a lot of H2O molecules in just one drop of water, okay? So plants make really good use of each drop of water, and of course with light, in the production of glucose, okay? So again, that's the left side of the equation for photosynthesis. All right, so let's take a look at the right side now. So you have two molecules. You have a really big glucose molecule, right? And you see that there's no coefficient, or there's an assumed one. So there's one glucose molecule, and you have 6 oxygen molecules as a waste product. Now you see that it's O2. Oxygen, it's rarely found by itself. Okay, usually atmospheric oxygen is found as a double O2. And of course you have the ozone, which is O3. But again, that's something that we can discuss at a later point. So, glucose and oxygen. So, where does glucose glucose, you can see, is made up of a combination of carbons and oxygens and hydrogen. So the carbons on the left side of the equation that we were mentioning earlier, okay, right there. Okay, these are the same carbons that end up on the right side of the equation. Okay, they're no different. Okay, the same material, the building material that comes in on the left side is reconstructed, reformed, rearranged, and then used as building material for all the stuff on the right side. Okay, so yes, all of those carbons are in fact the same carbons in the sugar molecule. So let me back up a little bit. So you can see here the sugar molecule. I'm going to highlight it, I'm going to enlarge it, and you can count. Now, how do you count the carbons in the sugar molecule? Well, just look for the oxygen, okay, within the cyclic carbon chain. Look for your oxygen and then start counting clockwise. So there's carbon number 1, okay, 2, 3, okay, then 4, 5, and then our last carbon number 6. So sugar is a 6-carbon molecule, okay? And again, those 6 carbons on the sugar molecule came from the 6 carbon dioxides that came in on the left side, okay? And then of course you also had sunlight. The plant continues to take in carbon dioxide and sunlight and water all day long, and it rearranges these 3 things to make sugar. And the plant uses this sugar as a building block for itself. So plants basically grow off of this material. So the more carbon dioxide, the more sunlight, the more water that the plant gets, it just continues to grow and use it as building material. Okay? All right. So let's look at the hydrogens. Yes, all of those hydrogens from the water are the same hydrogens that are rearranged and then used as a building block for sugar. Okay, so whatever on the left ends up on the right, just rearranged. Okay, and then the oxygens, they get rearranged and used as building blocks. And of course, not all of the oxygens are needed for the building of sugar, so the rest of them get rearranged as O2 molecules. Okay, atmospheric oxygen. Okay, and O2 is our waste product in this case. That's pretty miraculous when you stop to think about it, that plants, the waste product, when you compare the waste product of a human and the waste product of a plant, uh, I mean, it's pretty amazing that the very thing that the plant discards is the very thing that we need for life. Okay? All right, so here again, the building material on the left side of the equation. On the reactant side, you have a chemical reaction, a rearrangement, and then you have our product side, glucose and O2. So again, this is an anabolic process. This is a building up. This is a recombination or a combining, a synthesis, right? This is the synthesis part of photosynthesis. And so here we are, our brand new sugar molecule, okay, that has all the energy from ATP. Okay, I'll take you back. Let me quickly take you back to that first or the second slide that I showed you. Okay. Okay, Calvin cycle uses ATP and NADPH to convert CO2 into sugar. Real quick, NADPH, for the meantime, consider NADPH the same as ATP. NADPH is another energy carrier or high energy electron carrier. So it functions the same way as it does ATP. Okay, so don't be confused. I know we haven't discussed NADPH yet, but when you see NADPH, consider it the same as ATP. It's just another energy carrier in the Calvin cycle. It's kind of like when you're driving a car. How many types of cars are there, right? You have different model cars like Ford or Toyota. Well, imagine, your ATP has your Toyota and your NADPH has a Ford. It does the same thing. It's just a different type. Okay? So again, the Calvin cycle uses ATP, and that ATP is used in the Calvin cycle. Go back and refer to that video. And it stores the energy from ATP and NADPH into a sugar molecule, right? Okay, so again, I can't reiterate this enough. Carbon dioxide and water on a reactant side, a chemical reaction with light, and then you have a sugar molecule and oxygen as a waste product. And that again is a look at the general equation for photosynthesis. Okay, good luck on your studying.